are. Got to press the button. Here I am, and there you are. Evening. Welcome to class this evening, which is from the kitchen. Starting with Tadasana, feet together or apart, arms by the sides, chest up. Nasal breathing if possible. Shoulders dropped, or just notice which way the shoulders want to go. You know, do your shoulders want to drop to the left or right? Just let them drop whichever way. Don't need to offer any control of the body. Just let it drift where it wants to go. So if you want to drift right down to one side, or the body wants to drift to the other side, or the body wants to twist, really let it go to the fullest expression of that tendency or vasana. And what will happen is if you let your body just drift completely out of alignment, once it discovers the tendencies that are within it, then it begins to notice those and let them go, so that the alignment we come into is truly holistic. It's from the roots. So, not aligning yourself, but staying out of alignment and letting the body align itself, that takes time. That takes time, actually. So breathing into that and take the time and really let the body do its own thing. Make sure your toes aren't tense as well. Make sure your toes are relaxed if you can. Raise your arms up in your own time. And as you raise your arms up, keep your tummy drawn back, drawn in. And in that way, as your tummy gets drawn in, the pelvis is pulled up at the front, means it's pulled down at the back, means your lower back muscles get a stretch as you raise the arms up. So that's just what we want. We want the lower back muscles to get a stretch. We want to feel into the quadratus lumborum. That's the name of some of the lower back muscles that come to the beginning of your ribs. Can you feel from the top of the pelvis to the beginning of the ribs? You can even close your eyes to feel it more and to breathe it more if you want. Feeling and breathing. Take a big wide circle, hands to heart. Breathe through your nose. So this is called Tadasana Namaskara. Namas means prayer, or what it means to bow, actually. We're going to bend ankles, knees, and hips and lean forwards. We're going to bring our fingers onto the floor and breathe deep. We're going to massage the back into a bit more softness by moving the bum up and down or whatever else it needs. We're going to bring the left hand onto the floor in between the two hands. And we're going to turn to bring the right hand onto the back of the pelvis. We're not going to hold the breath. Going to let it flow. We're in a little twist. And I hope that you're able to move in the ways that make your body feel like it's really accepting the sensations, really moving into the sensations, just like a sort of relaxation, you could say, into the pose. We go the other direction, similarly. So the other hand on the floor in between the two feet, and then not holding the breath, breathing deeper. Perhaps you can feel as you move your bum up and down that you can find ways just to relax, to let go of tension that you might have picked up through the day. We all pick up tension. The skill is, as it's coming up, to come out, that tension, that you don't get caught up in it again, to really just like let it go. Now back to center again. And then from here, we're going to do the twist again, but a little differently, or the same. So you can either do exactly the same twist with a hand in between the 2 feet, or you can hook your elbow onto the outside of both legs and bring your hands together into a prayer position. So this is the Parivrtta Utkatasana. And again, movement up and down might help. We're going to release and do the same the other way. I find bring my hand onto my thigh really helps me to get that twist and that turn. The hands come roughly to the midpoint of the chest, so the breastbone, if you can. Work with it, work with the body as you find it. Well done, back to center, back to the floor. Deep, natural breaths. Raise your arms behind you and arms forwards and up into whatever height of squat you're comfortable in. It could be a low squat or a middle squat or a high squat. And then we're coming all the way up from there, taking a really big circle and the hands to the heart, and then deep breaths. Now, I expect we're going to want to take some deep breaths, so let's let those happen. So that sort of expressive breath, as we sometimes as we sometimes call it. So really letting go, really letting, like we start like a closed fist and we become like an open palm. So let the breath flow, let the breath flow, let the breath flow until the heart has absorbed the oxygen it wants and it's circulated it. And when you feel ready, raise up your left heel only, the left heel only. So you feel kind of excited, a little bit wobbly. And then when you're ready, see if you can lift the whole foot, hold the leg, one hand only, same hand as the leg that's raised, counterbalance with the other hand if you want, pull up and out. This is a version of Uttita Hasta Padangusthasana, not holding the breath at all, studying from the point of view of release, the inner groin of the standing leg and the front groin. It's the very top of the thigh. We want to make space there. And then return to center. Good job. Foot down, deep breath, loosen off, and just relax. Any way that feels, yeah, that's it, like that. That's good. That's one good way to relax. Anyway, that feels good. Nice and easy, happy, not really thinking too much about anything, just a nice, easy vibe. And then we're going to raise up the other heel, taking deep breaths whenever we need them. And when you feel ready, in other words, when you feel balanced, and that takes me a bit of time, I don't know about you, to really get into what will be my standing leg foot. I have to move the foot, I have to wake it up. And then when you're ready, you can lift the foot all the way up, take hold with one hand only, focus on the groin of the standing leg, so that goes spacious with the breath and the mind. And then if you're ready, pull the leg up and out and counterbalance with your other hand. Make sure your neck is relaxed and your breathing is deep and you're breathing in a way that's actually, really just expressive. You're not holding on to anything or trying to be anything or trying not to be anything, just relaxed. So relaxed, expressive, and natural. And we're going to take a few of those relaxed, expressive, natural, enjoyable, I hope, breaths, and then calmly, leg back to the front, leg comes down, take a deep breath in and out. You might want to block for this because we're going to step our feet apart now. We're going to come into a pose called Parshva Konasana, which means Parshva means side and Kona means angle. So we're going to turn left toes in, right foot and leg out. So left toes in, right foot and leg out. On the ball of the foot, we're finishing off the turn on the heel. What we're going to look for is that the heel of the front foot lines up with the instep of the back foot. So that heel shouldn't line up with the heel or with the toes, but with the instep. And then stretch the arms when you're ready. Stretch calmly into the back leg and bend the front leg. Start leaning over the front leg and softening the top of the thighs. You melt down to your block on the big toe side or to the floor on the big toe side. And then there's the option, well, there's no option about this. We need to be calm and breathe deep. That's kind of what makes yoga yoga. But then there's the option to raise the top arm up and over. And I like to lift my back heel up when I do that, because in that way, we can borrow, can't we, a bit more length for the body by lifting the back heel. Obviously, we lose a little bit of stability, but it's quite useful. And then the heel, of course, will go back down. We'll breathe deep, honest, natural. So this is Parshva Konasana. Calmly coming up. You can use your hand on your leg, use your inhale for sure. And then face back to the front, hands on the hips. Let me hear you take a deep breath or two. So really starting to kind of feel your heart rate gone up, your breath gone a bit deeper. And the expressiveness of the breath is what begins to sort of stir out all the stuff of the day so we can really clear out and feel fresh. The back toes turn in, front foot and leg turns out on the ball of the foot. You finish the last bit of the turn on the heel. And that should give you heel to arch alignment, which is what we want, of course. And then raise your arms when you're ready. Relax your neck. Imagine you were super, super, super chilled, like just the most relaxed you ever are. Bring that into yoga, just the most chilled, the most relaxed that you ever are. Bring that into your yoga. Bend your front knee, but stretch into your back leg. Let the groin, the top of the thigh, melt as the mind melts and come down to your block or to the floor. And then again, we're going to raise the top arm with the option to bring it up and over. Again, there's also the option, if you wanted to lift the back heel. It does give you a bit more length in the body, but it also loses you a bit of stability, which is actually not a bad thing. And then the heel will come back down when you feel ready. Breath is deep, tummy's lightly toned. Breath is through the nose if you can. Good job, everyone. Come down, both hands on the floor, turn your back heel out, step your front foot back. And we're in Adho Mukha Svanasana, the down face dog. The opportunity that we have here starts with our hands. Let's see if we can get the hands really sort of close to the mat, especially the bits of the palms that you can't actually feel as close as other parts. So I find, see what you think, I find moving side to side, forwards, backwards, that can light up different parts of my palms. That becomes very absorbing, very focusing, which is nice. But also it helps me to really plant the hands. And the more the hands are planted, the more your energy is utilized by the pose, the energy of pushing through the armpits, straight up through the armpits, inner armpit up to the groins, outer armpit up to the hips. And that's repeated, the up action from the arms up through to the tummy. And you just keep going on that. And the more you go up, the more you go down. That is, the more you stretch the body up, the more the head should release down. Well done. From here, we're going to walk the feet a bit closer to each other. And we're going to raise the foot furthest away from me and bend and extend, or furthest away from the screen. You're already quite far away from me, aren't you? Bend and extend. Play with it your own way. And when you're ready, bend that knee in the air. Keep it bent. And we're going to sweep it forward so that the sole of the foot comes forward into the place of the hand. Doing that on an exhale. Once you've brought your foot forwards, bring your knee down. Bring your hands onto your leg. If you need to readjust your back knee, of course, come to your hands and knees and readjust if the position doesn't feel right. One of the things about the position is the knee should be behind the pelvis. And then we raise the arms up. And when we're ready, breathing deep again through the nose if you can. Natural, expressive, honest. And reiterative tone means that the tone of your tummy comes in repeated waves. Tummy goes in and up, then there's another wave, reiterating, another wave. So we imagine these currents that we're sending through the body, like a current in a river, that influence more and more fibers into this holistic stretch. Now, you can stay as you are, or you can attempt or succeed, maybe, in raising the back knee. And that gives a lot more stretch to the groin, that is the front of the thigh, and the muscles that traverse the front of the thigh. And you can really play with that. Up, down, left, right. You don't have to raise the knee, of course. It's fine to keep it down. We're getting plenty out of that. Okay, come down slowly and calmly. And then back to hands and knees for a moment. Straight up from there to down face dog. Catch a deep breath. So quite expressive and deep and natural and spontaneous and playful. Without holding the breath at all. See if we can, let's do this together. See if we can plant our palms really deep into the mat as a meditation. When you're ready, walking those feet a little closer if they're wide apart, raise your other leg. Similarly, you can really have a good play. You can bend and extend. Sometimes raising and landing the back heel is also fun. Anything that feels nice to you, you know, that feels like it's encouraging you to take a deeper breath. And if you're ready, when you're ready, turning your leg back in, bending the knee and sweeping the foot forwards on the exhalation into the place of the hand, and spend a breath or two like that, climbing up if you're happy to, onto your leg, and then releasing from the groin, that's the top of the inner thigh of the back leg, releasing the neck as well, breathing expressively through your nose if you can, jaw soft, eyes soft, throat soft, brain soft, tongue soft. So it's reiterated. Again, there's the opportunity to raise up the back leg, and that brings a lot more opportunity for play, for lila, playing forwards, playing backwards, playing up, playing down. So in the Vajrasati context, I've posted today more about Lila Artha Lakshana. If you're interested in that, I've posted that on social media. Sorry. Sorry about social media. Breathe through your nose, jaw soft, eye soft. Natural tone to the tongue. Okay, good job. Calmly, coming down, calmly, coming back to hands and knees. Let's hear a deep breath from you, from us, from all of us, and maybe 3 or 4. So really nice to let the breath go, to let yourself feel relaxed, just let your bum move, and yeah, for everything to feel relaxed and easeful is what we're looking for. We're going to come into our down face dog again. So as soon as you're ready, we now have a better sense of the project regarding the palms, that we want to really melt each and every part of the palms into the mat as a meditation. And we might pedal the heels or bend and extend the knees, but we still definitely want this up project, this upward project through the armpits, through to the groins, outer armpits too. This really nice project. And when you're ready, with your feet a little closer, we're going to raise one leg up again. You can try, if you want, to raise the opposite hand for a moment as a sort of little challenge. See how that goes. Then you're going to bring that down and you're going to start playing with the top leg, bending, extending, whatever invites deeper breaths. We want to look at what invites deeper breaths. And when you're ready, with a bent knee, the knee's going to travel to the floor at the back of the wrist, and it's going to stay there. The foot of that leg's going to move while the knee stays in position. The foot's going to move across the body, and we're going to stretch the back leg back. So you end up with your leg going diagonally across your body. Take your time to work into it. Because you're working into the iliotibial tract along the outer leg, takes a bit of time to massage that in, I think. Your knees tight, lean over the bent knee. That can help to reduce the fulcruming and therefore reduce any possible pressure that you might feel on the inside of the knee, medial meniscus. You can either stay up, which I like, it's nice to do. I'm sort of halfway up, you can lift higher, or you can go lower. The only thing that matters is your breath. So just make sure that that's flowing expressively, honestly, naturally, easefully. That's what matters, is the breath. So keep working it in, working it in, working it in, working it in. As calm as you can be. And when you're ready, tuck under the back toes, bring your back knee forwards, come back into your Adho Mukha Svanasana, your downward facing dog. Let's draw a few really deep breaths. So we're really starting to enjoy the sort of expressive, like you can really let out a sigh if you want. All of us pick up a lot, don't we? A lot of stuff at work, at school, at college, at university, at home, in the street. We pick up stuff, we're sensitive, right? So that means if we pick up stuff, we can also let it go, we can drop it. And that's what the deep breaths are for, and getting really into the moment, because the deeper you go into the moment, the more that you'll find yourself dropping what you were previously holding. And when you're ready, similarly, making sure your feet aren't too wide, we're going to raise up a leg. And if you want to try that opposite arm, opposite leg raising game, then you can if you want. It's quite exciting. Once you've had a little go at that, then again, lots of play in the air, lifting high, lifting the heel of the lower leg, bringing it down. And there's lots of things you can do, right? It's just play. And then when you're ready, the knee sweeps forwards, directly behind the wrist, and there it stays. The foot moves across the body diagonally, and you take your time to stretch back your other leg. And you can either stay in the sort of half up, half down, grand old Duke of York, or you can come right down to the forearms, or you can come right up onto the leg. So it doesn't matter where you are. It just matters whether or not it's triggering a release of your breath. It just matters whether or not it's triggering, which is what we want, a release of the breath. So take some deeper breaths, massage it in any way that works for you in terms of the release of the breath. That's what we're looking for. Any way that works for you in terms of the release of the breath. Okay. If you're up, come down a bit. If you're down, come up a bit. And we're going to bring the back knee forward. We're going to come back and sit in the kneeling position, which you can put a block between your heels and buttocks for that kneeling position. You can put a rolled up blanket under your front ankles as well. If your feet are getting cramped or it just feels uncomfortable on the top of the feet, that blanket is very nice to have, as is a block. We're just going to rest for a moment with one hand on top of the other. I'm going to recommend that we close our eyes, if you don't mind, just for a bit. Or you can half close them if you're someone who's a bit, suspicious. But we're going to just roll on the shins. And it's all about relaxing. Relaxing our own way. So deep, natural breath, soft eyes, soft brain. Jaw soft, tongue soft, eyes soft, throat soft, brain soft, everything soft that can be soft. Great, okay. Now we're going to stretch our legs out in front of us when we're ready. From here, very calmly, hands behind your head, roll back until your feet can come up level with your eyes. So straight line from your eyes to your toes. Trembling can happen, that's normal. Collapsing can happen, it's called boat pose. So it's not unlikely that some of the boats might capsize. And you just keep breathing into it. You do what you can, you do your best you can. And of course, if you do capsize, it's a good chance to have a jolly good chuckle and then bring yourself back up again. Okay. Good, bend your knees. Gently, gently, hug the legs. Softly, softly, massage the back side to side and lift it gently as you're massaging it. And of course, let go of the breath. Let go of tensions. Let go of tightness in the breath. Keep the jaw soft. And we're just going to wait for the back to feel sufficiently soft, sufficiently relaxed, sufficiently calm. Now, for what we're going to do next, it's quite useful to have a yoga belt. You don't have to have one. Not even sure if I've got one in here. Oh yeah, I've got one. So in fact, I'll just use this. It's not even a yoga belt, but it will do. So you can use anything. I've used this, don't really know what it is, piece of elastic thing, stuff. But you can use a dressing gown belt or a yoga belt, whatever you've got. I'm sure I've got some in the cupboard, but it's quite good to just realize you can use pretty much anything. Once you're sat, it's possible that you might be better off sitting on a block if you feel kind of, hunchy. Then sitting on a block can really just push the pelvis up, tilt it forwards, and release the top of the thighs, release the psoas, so the back can feel much lighter. If you are sitting on a block, take one end and tilt it back a little bit. Just because we're going to next take one foot and bring that back. So if you did tilt your block, you're going to take the same foot back as the block side that you tilted, and the foot's going to come somewhere, either along the inner thigh of the opposite leg, or in some cases, it comes to the top of its own thigh. You turn the leg, you stretch the leg backwards, actually. This is partly why it's called Janu Shirshasana, because the Janu is the back knee. And we're going to be extending our heads away from the back knee and the back knee away from the head. You can take your belt around your foot, breathe through your nose if you can. Obviously, one side is going to be pulled back by the bent leg. So that side, we gently, 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 gently turn it forwards. I think it's really nice to let go of any tension inside the knee of the bent leg. And gradually, as you breathe, let tensions release from everywhere. And as tensions release, it's possible that the pelvis will tilt a bit. Doesn't matter how much. You can even close your eyes so you're not distracted by how much. It's just you go forwards whenever the breath releases tension in the body. And it doesn't matter how far forwards you go. Some people will reach the foot, but that might just be because they've got long arms and short legs, right? So you might have, a more evenly proportioned anatomy. Maybe you've got, long legs and regular sized arms. So maybe that's going to be harder to reach the foot. But that's, it doesn't matter. What matters is that you're getting the release you need through your breath here and now. So take some deeper breaths. Keep releasing that back knee. Make sure you're not holding the breath at all. And hopefully, when you really get it, you kind of lose any sense of time, because there's so much richness that you're absorbed in. It's just delicious. So breathing calmly into it, jaw soft, eyes soft, brain soft, throat soft, tongue soft. It's all about softening. It's not, grasping makes the connective tissue tense up, which we don't want. We want our bodies to become like a sort of fluid, which is very literally what happens when you approach the pose and life correctly. Then the body becomes like a sort of fluid. It's such a delicious pose. For me, it's a pose I certainly would like to spend quite a while on each side, because I hope you're feeling the same. So much opportunity to let go of tensions in the knee, in the bum, in the hamstrings, everywhere, really. So stay as long as you need. One of the nice things about doing classes online is, you can kind of do your own thing as well a bit more easily, because you're there, listening to your body. When it's time to come up, if you're happy to come up now, great. If you want to stay a bit longer, that's great as well. And obviously we're going to do the same on the other leg. So slowly guide your leg out. If you're sitting on a block, remember, it's useful just to tilt it in anticipation of the foot coming back. So the block makes a bit of room, because remember, the leg is extending back in a backwards direction. When you're ready, similarly, take hold of the other leg, and the foot's going, or the heel's going somewhere along the inner thigh, or maybe if you take the leg back far enough, the top of its own thigh. Again, that would depend on ratios, how long your shin is relative to how long your thigh is. If you've got a very long shin relative to the length of your thigh bone, then it might be very, very tricky to bring the heel into the thigh like that. Either way, take your patta, your belt, and bring it around the foot. Actually, I have to be honest, I'm loving this elasticated belt here, because it gives a bit of play. So I know they use these kind of elasticated bands a lot in Pilates, and quite good. It's quite a lot in them. Keep softening the back knee, keep softening the eyes, keep softening the jaw, keep softening the brain, keep softening the throat. Repeatedly releasing again and again and again. Passive jaw, passive eyes, passive throat, passive tongue. And perhaps closing the eyes could be useful. It is for me, because I can forget then about any sort of destination in terms of, how close anything is to anything else, and think more about just the release, just like welcoming deeper breaths, welcoming release. Keep that jaw as passive, as calm as you can. There's the option, if you've got short legs and long arms, some people end up at the foot, but it doesn't matter at all. In fact, yoga belts have existed for as long as we're aware. We're even in the image from Mohenjo-Daro, which is from the Harappan civilization. Looks like he's got some sort of belt, that he may or may not be using. The so-called proto-Shiva. It's not actually Shiva, but it's maybe some sort of yogi. We don't know. Anyway, a few more breaths if you're happy to, if you can, or you can even stay beyond the amount of time that I'm going to instruct for here. Okay, coming up calmly when you're ready. Well done, everybody. And we're going to lay down on our backs. So when you're ready, go ahead with that. You might want a block under your head, because sometimes the head tips back, and it's quite nice to have a little bit of focus towards the heart rather than the mind just sort of spinning out of the body. And of course, if the head tips back too far, it does have an effect on the arteries that run up into the brain, and it can cause lower blood pressure in the brain, which can make us space out a little bit. Obviously, we don't want high blood pressure in the brain, but we don't want low blood pressure either. We want it just right. When you're ready, raise up one leg. It doesn't matter which one. You just go with that. That's good. And then play with the foot. So move it up, move it down, circle it round, scrunch the toes and release them. Anything that feels nice. And when you're ready, heel in, toes out, just cross that leg over the other one. Then lift the foot that's on the floor off the floor, plunge through and interlace around your far shin. And it's very simple, just a bit of good old-fashioned rolling about. Okay, so rolling left, rolling right, looking for sensations that are good enough. Definitely not holding the breath. Maybe you can find a sensation that actually really makes you naturally release your breath. Find something like that. Really makes you let go. Okay, if you're ready, when you're ready, go ahead and release. Place both feet on the floor. Love to hear you take a deeper breath, just to sigh out some of the day, just let go of some of the day. You can imagine you're just dropping everything, all the stresses associated with, being male, female, young, old, whatever your life has, all the sort of expectations, just letting that go. Expectations of being someone, going somewhere, getting something, letting all that go. And when staying relaxed, you can raise the other leg up and similarly dorsiplantar flex. Very simple, very nice. I hope you find it nice. I quite like a scrunch and unscrunch of the toes. That seems very beneficial. And when you're ready, heel in, toes out, cross that leg over the other one. Lift the foot that's on the floor off the floor, and similarly reach through and hold the thigh. And a little bit of rolling left and right, just to see if you can find a little delight. And you know that the sensation is right when it makes your mind feel light and float around like a kite. And everything turns soft from tight. So it's like a closed fist turning to an open palm. Or it's like the first rich red gold rays of the sun. As the sun rises, you get these sort of the rays of light shoot across the horizon, the first rays of rich red gold light. So it should feel like that, you know. If you're ready, release your feet, blow both feet down, take a breath in and breath out. Now we're going to take that belt that we had before and we're going to bring it around the shins. So that's simple, just goes around the shins. You use the belt to pull your shoulders down away from your ears. So that means walking down the belt with your fingers, just walking down as far as you can. And that's already very, very beneficial. Just keeping the shoulders down away from the ears is very, very beneficial. We're going to tone the tummy, meaning the tummy is going to go in and the chest is going to go up. And that action, as we discovered earlier, lengthens the lower back. Then we're going to lift the bum up. You got it? That's it. And move left, right, up, down. You can twist outwards on your upper arm. So you turn your palms towards the ceiling, still holding the belt. And that can really be very useful in terms of opening your chest without compressing the anterior spine. So a really good roll out. Make sure not to hold the breath at all. Let it flow. Keep the neck soft, keep the eyes soft. Moving left, moving right. Finding attunement. Well done, everyone. Slow, 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 slow. Come down, slow. Let your shoulder blades move away from each other as you come down and simply raise one leg up and take that same belt around the front of the heel of that leg. Make sure not to hold the breath. I think it's nice to bring the belt near to the front of the heel where the heel intersects with the arches of the foot. So quite nice to do that, I think. Walk up the belt as far as you can. Take 3 deep breaths to let go of your neck and lower back. Maybe 4 deep breaths. And when you're ready, extend your lower leg out, focusing particularly on the inner groin, not holding the breath. The inner groin of the lower leg is what you want to feel some stretch on. So movements of your foot might help, should help. Then we're going to hold the belt with one hand only, the same hand as the leg that's raised. Try not to turn the lower leg out as you pull the upper leg towards your head and then out to its own side. And this is where we become aware of softening with the breath between the front hips as we feel a meditative softening, a meditative release, a breath-centered softening, a breath-centered release. Just lovely. Let the neck be soft. Extend into your lower leg heel. Don't rush. Keep relaxing the neck. Good job. Calmly, calmly, up it comes. Bend the lower leg. Release the upper leg. Both feet are now on the floor. Love to know that you're taking a deep breath. Or 2. Or 3. Sort of sigh-like breaths. Be lovely. Sigh-like breaths. And while you're taking sigh-like breaths and you're feeling relaxed and chilled, let's take the other leg up and similarly place the belt into the same sort of placement, the front of the heel. Breathe without holding your breath. Relax your neck if you can. Let's spend 3 or 4 deep breaths, letting go of the neck, letting go of the lower back, letting go of the neck, letting go of the lower back. Extend your lower leg when you feel ready, still taking those deep breaths, and see if you can nudge the heel and or the ball of the foot to get more stretch in the inner thigh, the very top of the inner thigh. That's where we want more stretch, more space, more openness. Breath is everything. Take deeper ones. Keep the neck and lower back relaxed. Hold the belt with one hand only when you're ready. The other hand can rest on the other thigh, and then pull that leg towards you and out to its own side. Again, feeling a psychophysical respiratory release between the front hip points. Psychophysical respiratory, that means in the mind, in the body, and the breath. And make sure you keep that neck relaxed. And keep feeling into the pose, just feeling into it. Good job, everyone. As calmly as you can. Bring that leg back up when you're ready. Lower the other leg, bend the other leg, and then lower your top leg. Put the belt to one side, put your hands under your head. Let's all take 3 or 4 deep breaths, or 5 even. So really letting the breath go, really letting the breath go. Neck soft, jaw soft, throat soft. Lift your feet up when you're ready. Lower back close to the floor. Lift your head up when you're ready. We can feel the lower back pressing into the floor. We're making sure not to hold our breath. We can let our thighs drift towards the pelvis. And we relax where we can. The knees, the ankles, the hip joints. Relax the knees. That's it. The ankles. Let the ankles relax with the breath, with the mind, the hip joints. So this is sort of attitude that releases to release physical tension. When you're ready, see how much you can flex. In other words, see how much you can pull the pelvis. And perhaps even getting a sense that the pelvis might be able to lift. It doesn't matter if it can't. Just the sense of trying to lift it will switch on the necessary muscles that we're trying to activate. We don't really care whether the pelvis is lifting or not. It's not like someone needs to hoover underneath there. What we're doing instead is just activating the muscles. Okay, release and repeat. So little movements, flexing as much as you can, not yanking, but natural awareness. And going back to that 5 times. Those little movements, trying to lift the pelvis, moving back and then moving back up again. 5 times. Once you've done 5, head down, feet down, deep breaths, plural. So hopefully they'll be expressive, deep, natural breaths. And the more expressive you can be, the better, actually. The more expressive, the better. And we're going to stay like this with the feet about hip width apart, knees pointing up, and with the hands still behind the head. And we're going to simply let the legs fall over to one side. That's it. Not holding the breath, breathing through the nose if you can. And relax the hip, relax the jaw. Great. Nice to stay like that. Bring yourself up when you're ready. You might want to scoot the buttocks under. I think it's quite nice. You might want to do the same with the shoulder blades. And then, very simple, the legs go the other way. Very simple, isn't it? Very, very simple. What matters here is the breath. That's what matters. It's the breath. So don't forget to take deeper, more expressive, more natural, more spontaneous, more easeful breaths. When you're ready, bring your legs back up, scoot the buttocks under, take a deep breath in, deep breath out, like a sigh. Maybe 2, 3, 4 or more of those would be great. Really deep, natural breaths. Okay, release your hands from behind your head. We're going to roll over. Sorry about that. That must have been loud. Drop the speaker. We're going to roll over onto our side. We're going to bring ourselves onto our forearms. Sorry about that noise. So quite simple. Resting on your forearms like that. Okay. Stretching your legs back like that. And then simple, stepping out, stepping back, stepping out, stepping back. Never becoming tense, always going with the flow. We're going to do this 5 times on each side if we can. Stepping out, stepping back. 5 times if we can. It's fine to do less if you need to have a rest or to do them in little stages. Great. And that's all. When you've done your 5, you simply sit in a kneeling position. You take a deep breath. Just got to move something in the kitchen. Take a deep breath, kneeling, breathing through your nose if you can. Again, you can take those supports like we talked about before, where necessary, where useful. So that's a block between the heels and buttocks, if it's useful. And it's a blanket underneath the front ankles. So just very simple, easy breathing. Very simple, easy breathing. I find it useful to roll side to side. Useful in terms of softening, useful in terms of relaxing, useful in terms of releasing the breath. And personally, I'm a really big fan of Vajrasana, this pose. It's so simple, but you can really use it to lull yourself, you're sort of rocking yourself, and to find ways to just tell yourself it's, you don't have to perform to be anybody's anything. Son, daughter, parent, partner, business colleague, work colleague, someone's friend in a certain social group. Don't have to be anything for anyone else or for yourself. We're looking at emptiness. We're looking at relaxation. We're looking for a closed fist to become an open palm. Great. Okay. Even though it's lovely, we're going to give our legs one at a time a little huglet. So that's simple. All you do is pick up a leg, bring it across the body. Just going to move this microphone, hopefully without dropping it. Bring it across the body. And then if you can, take your foot into the crook of the elbow like that. And it's a little gentle rocking. It's all iliotibial tract stuff. And moving forwards, moving backwards, moving up, moving down. Whatever you're doing, you're not holding the breath. That's the bit that really matters. Letting the breath go. Keeping the jaw soft. It's gorgeous, isn't it? And the truth, we're told, is a kaliko dhamma. That is to say, outside of time. And that's what we're trying to point to, an experience that feels timeless. And it's sanditiko dhamma. That is to say, it's apparent here and now. And it's ehipassiko dhamma. That is, it invites investigation. It wants you to kind of, what we're looking at in terms of the truth is what's apparent here and now. What makes you want to disappear into it? Inviting investigation means you want to, you just want to absorb yourself in it. It's sort of fascinating, the sensations. Okay. Let's gently, slowly, gently release that leg. And I'm sure you know what's coming. Up comes the other one, similarly. We're going to place the foot into the crook of the other elbow, if you can, or somewhere similar. And similarly, giving the leg a little bit of a hug and a bit of movement, forwards, backwards, up, down, left, right. Simply looking for that which is apparent here and now. It's not a concept about the future or the past or some abstract philosophy. What's apparent here and now is these sensations, aren't they? And what, they feel timeless. Doesn't feel like they're operating within time because they're not moving from one place to another. They're just a field of change. It goes on forever. Never, with no origin, no beginning, and no end. That's what the texts tell us. It doesn't matter whether you're looking at Buddhist texts or Sankhya texts or whatever. Without beginning, without end. So there's a huge variety of places you can put your foot in terms of getting a good stretch. Obviously, we don't want any discomfort at all in the knee. So move in ways that avoid discomfort in the knee. Okay. Okay. Slow, calm, easy release. We're going to come into Siddhasana. So the Siddha is the adept. I'm going to recommend, as I usually do, a brick-shaped block, but you can use a regular block. Just one of these regular sort of shaped blocks. You can use one of those, but the short end facing forwards. And you can even use two of them, one on top of the other, if you want. So Siddhasana, I think it's a really beautiful pose. It's sitting on that block with your heels lined up with each other and the midline of the body and the buttock flesh drawn out and back. There's another version where you can put your front foot on top of the one that was behind it. But the same thing, heels are lined up with each other in the midline of the body. And then you sit up tall. Obviously, if sitting in Siddhasana is tricky, any seated pose where you can sit up tall is fine. Any tension in your back, you notice it, you soften it. Any tension in the shoulders, any tension in the neck, soften it, relax it. Now, very, very powerful practice and kind of fun as well is mantra uchara. Mantra uchara is a mixture of two words, mantra and uchara. Uchara means to move upwards, uchara. So the chara means the movement and the part means upwards, uchara. And mantra uchara is moving a mantra upwards. And it's through what we imagine, what we tell ourselves is a channel. So we imagine a channel, like a space, And normally it's said to be about the thickness of your thumb. We can imagine it like that. Going from the base of the spine, in front of the spine, all the way up. And then it continues in front of the spine, and then goes through the middle of the head. And usually we imagine it 12 finger widths above the crown of the head. So it's from the pelvic floor to 12 finger widths above the crown of the head. It's the thickness of your thumb. And we use this mantra, Om, to push up through that central channel. So we're going to do 3 Oms, starting at the pelvic floor and pushing it all the way up. I think it's fun, but it's also very effective at really centering us. So let's do it together. Let's breathe down to the pelvic floor. So inhale. Oh. And the next one when you're ready. Oh. The last one, right down to the pelvic floor. Oh. Right out of the crown of the head. And then you take deep, deep breaths to relax. So really drop those shoulders. Really let your bum settle, let your jaw relax. Shoulders settle, eyes relax. Breathing deep, brain relaxed. And it's quite normal to just feel so centered that you kind of don't want to move, because the center is the most peaceful place that a human being can experience. We're often pulled out of our center and spun this way and spun that. But when we find our center, we don't want to leave. It's like finding a warm, cozy log cabin, having been outside in a blizzard. You know, you get in there like, I don't want to go back in that blizzard. I want to stay here. You know, I want to rest here. So we're going to continue our rest in this cabin in the blizzard, in the central channel, by laying ourselves down on our backs when we feel ready. Ready for this beautiful pose Shavasana, and we will be carrying on our concentration on the central channel. So when you're ready, make sure you're warm and comfortable. If your head tips back, it's definitely worth taking head support. And even if you've only got a minute, you know, to come into corpse pose, definitely do it, you know. Maybe you've got a little longer, which would be great. So laying on your back, even if it's just for, you know, a few seconds. Nice to scoot the shoulder blades under so your chest is really sort of floating, buoyant. And natural breathing through your nose. Let the entire weight of the whole body release. The entire weight of the whole body. And sense that central channel. Just have a sense of the central channel. Now you can lay, obviously, as long as you want. The ideal time is to lay until the body has absorbed the energy completely. There's a sense of total absorption. Everything vibrates at the same calm frequency. So if you've got longer to lay, then I recommend that you do. But if you need to come out of the pose now, or the same movements will apply whenever you come out of the pose, then it will be moving the toes and moving the fingers, stretching the arms, stretching the legs, just gentle, natural stretches, and then the legs will bend, soles of the feet onto the floor before you roll to your left. And after a few moments with the tummy so soft, you'll roll to your right. And it's from that side, when you feel ready, you'll come up, either now or in 5, 10, 15 minutes. Whatever time you've got. Whether you're going to do it from laying down or whether you're going to do it from sitting up, we'll just do a little transference of merit. So may any benefit that we've gained interacting in this way go to the alleviation of the suffering of all beings. Om. Really grateful for your time. Thank you so much for coming along. Jim. I hope you're happy and well. And, you know, as I always say, stay out of trouble. Love you, gang. See you soon. Love and peace. You beautiful people.